Konnichiwa mina, boku wa Jeremy desu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. And today is another episode of Sailor Moon Crystal. Episode 34, Act 33, Infinity 7 Transformation Super Sailor Moon. Now, this one was interesting because this time they started the first part not right from where it left off, but they actually rewound it a little bit, and I guess just for that dramatic effect, and probably because they didn't have enough to fill an entire episode. Maybe sometimes they do that, which is different from what they've had, the different problem from what they've had until recently. So it starts off leading up to the point where the Holy Grail is brought. So all the Senshi are fighting. Usagi, Sailor Moon, is trying to figure out what they're going to do, and she wants to call their hearts together. So Tuxedo Command, Chibi Moon, Sailor Moon all put their hearts together, and the Holy Grail comes to them, and it's shining, and Sailor Moon transforms into Super Sailor Moon. Now, as this is happening, before that, we have the opening theme, and then as this is happening, there's really epic music that's playing, which is really, really neat. It's very pretty, too. And the effects during the transformation are better than they were in the original, I think, because they last a lot longer, and the actual physical transformation of her into Sailor Moon, or Super Sailor Moon, it pays homage to the original, but there are some differences, just a little bit. But it's enough that it really comes together well. So it's almost like the length of a full transformation sequence, but it's a little bit longer than the original one was. Now, Chibi Moon is the first one to recognize her as Super Sailor Moon. Obviously, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto's talismans are glowing. They help lend their power into this. In the manga, it kind of alludes to her drinking from the chalice, but she isn't actually. It looks just like in the anime. The stuff sprinkles onto her, and she turns into Super Sailor Moon. Chibi Moon recognizes her as Super Sailor Moon from the stories that her mother told her in the future. She said, one day you're going to see who Super Sailor Moon is, a stronger version of Sailor Moon, and everybody wakes up and snaps out of their little thing where they're like, what the hell's going on? And so, meanwhile, Cyprine Pitlal, Kaori Knight, Professor Tomoe, Hotaru, and Pharaoh 90, they're all reacting to this new power-up that's coming. Professor Tomoe is like, whoa, what power? How the hell is she not being damaged by this? And they're all like, what the hell's going on? So Hotaru's sitting there. Now, this was interesting. In the manga, she's in her black jumpsuit thing, but in the anime, they kind of had her in like lingerie underwear type stuff. I don't know, whatever. Maybe it's fan service. I don't know, but anyway, that's what they decided to do. So, you see her having her heart attack thing, or she's having her attack, and then all of a sudden, boom, her eyes go weird, and it's not the same creepiness as the original. When Mistress 9 would talk through Hotaru, the kind of creepy voice isn't there anymore, but it still worked, and Hotaru's eyes like opened up, and you could tell she was a different person. They had a more evil glint to them, but not quite like they are in the manga, where there's like this kind of swirling dark black starry type things, almost like a galaxy. So Super Sailor Moon decides not to hesitate anymore, and she goes to use Rainbow Moon Heartache, which also is kind of an ode to the original, but it has a different ending, a different follow-through, and a different pose. So, like in the original, she would have kind of ended up... Oh, I don't even know how to do this properly, just so I could show you guys. Let's see. Like this. Oh yeah, my camera's not quite up. But she would have ended up in this pose with her arm up and using the power. And now it's got a different sound to it than the original one did. I kind of like this sound better, but the new one is like, it's got the same idea. All these ribbons are coming around instead of that giant heart like the other one did. So props to my Proplica for my sound effects that I was able to use. This is one of my favorite sound effects, actually, for an attack. I always like that one myself, so I'm going to put this back down over here. Alright. This, of course, destroys Cyprine and Pitlal, and Kaori Knight freaks the hell out. She's like, what the hell? How dare you attack them? Blah, blah, blah. You couldn't... How dare you affect or destroy my precious Witch's 5? But at the same time, remember earlier on to tell you, she didn't tell them that she kind of knew who the Senshi were. So it's really weird. There's like this back and forth relationship of does she like them, does she not like them, is she pissed off, is it the usual boss? I don't know. But anyway, so Kawari Knight's like, oh, I'm supposed to easily destroy all this stuff and become the master's right-hand woman, and Mistress 9 is sitting there in Hotaru's body looking at her in the Tao on crystal, and she's like, haha, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a lowly magus, and I will be the one. Ha ha ha. And then all of a sudden she snaps out of it, becomes Hotaru, and just collapses. So everybody's like, oh my god, Super Sailor Moon, yay! And then Neptune realizes that their talismans are telling them that they have to fill in the Senshi about what's actually going on. So all of a sudden they're able to fly, and they all just float into Haruka's apartment building. Now lately, Sailor Moon Crystal has been lacking in some fun moments recently. They've been cutting them out for episode space, but like I said, I think that they were lacking on some stuff, so they left most of the stuff in. So they left a cute little funny moment where Haruka, or Uranus is going on about how she doesn't want to see the bill of the furniture, the fixing, all that kind of stuff, and she mentions that they have patrons, so they're never lacking for money. So I don't know what that means, but at the same time, I'm thinking, oh god, that's got like a prostitution kind of tone to it. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's what they're going for. If it's a joke, I'm dumb when it comes to that. I don't know. So someone out there, let me know. But it was very funny, and I'm glad that they left it in. You need to have your humor in the little dark parts and stuff. And so Michiru starts telling them about the story of what happened in the Silver Millennium and how the Outer Senshi weren't allowed to leave their posts. They could just watch from afar and see what was going on. Of course, Pluto was at the door of time, and Neptune and Uranus have their own posts that they have to watch because they're the Outer Senshi in the outer planets, the outposts. So their talismans came together when they came together, because they were never supposed to meet, and they were the ones that called Sailor Saturn, who destroyed the actual Silver Millennium, which is kind of weird. It's almost like a rewriting of things, because in the original part, it was Queen Beryl and the Dark Kingdom that left the Moon Kingdom in ruin, and technically if Saturn destroyed everything, the Moon Kingdom ruins that the Senshi visited in the first season shouldn't be there. So again, rewriting, it happens all the time in soap operas and stuff like that, but that's okay. So Saturn comes in, we find out that she is the Senshi of Destruction, and every time she comes, that basically means that it's the end of everything. She sets down her glaive, the power just drains from everything, and she ends all life. But she's also the Senshi of Rebirth, as we find out later, and so she comes back, pretty much. She's always reborn, but not necessarily everybody else. But anyway, we'll get to that. So the Senshi were reborn on Earth together, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, and that basically means that the time of Sailor Saturn is coming, and the only way to stop her is to kill her, basically, in the long run. So they have this huge debate about it. The Outer Senshi leave, and Sailor Chibi Moon is like, no, you're not going to do this. I'm not like going to let you do that. So she runs after them, and makes it to Hotaru's house, and the others give chase after her. And but before that, the Outer Senshi are talking about the doll symbolism, and there is a lot of stuff in the original anime. Actually, give me one moment, because I have a sneaky suspicion I can find this if I'm lucky. Should have had this ready ahead of time. Let's see here. If I have a picture of it. Because I have these animangas of Sailor Moon S, and sometimes they have the pictures, which they don't in this one. Where is it? This is the only other one I've got, so I'm sure it's got to be in one of these. There we go. So they have Hotaru in the original S anime dressed up like a doll, and she's in a stage, like with dolls and teddy bears and stuff all around her. So that's where the symbolism of that comes from. They talk about how her body is like a doll. Professor Tomoe has rebuilt her as part machine, part human, and she's basically a living doll. Pluto is the one that's very, very soft in her explanation of that they have to kill Hotaru, but then Neptune and Uranus are kind of like more harsh about it, and that's when they take off. Anyways, So this is where things change just ever so slightly. So Hotaru is still on the floor. Chibi Moon comes up and she runs over. She sees Hotaru on the ground. The outer sense, she sees Chibi Moon in the tree. They're watching all this going on. And so Chibi Moon runs over there, and all of a sudden, Hotaru transforms into Mistress 9. In the manga, she does not until she actually gets a hold of the silver crystal from Chibi Moon. But in this one, she transforms. Tuxedo Command tries to go up and grab her and save her, but the hair pushes him away, and she pulls the brooch off. And essentially, I think because when she's holding the brooch, you see a pink ball of light. I think that is Chibi Moon's heart crystal, which they don't really talk about at all in the Sailor Moon Crystal anime. But, I mean, that was basically what they were going for. In the original one, as you can see, Sailor Pluto's holding a heart crystal up here. Hopefully that is legible. Again, this is the animanga. And so that's why Chibi Moon essentially becomes lifeless. So she's up in the air, and there's Mistress 9. She doesn't sound creepy at all. She really doesn't. She just sounds like another one of the characters. It's not quite the same feeling as the original anime had. But that's okay. It still works. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are kind of like, what the hell? This doesn't make sense. Like, our things didn't react. What's going on? She's not Sailor Saturn, so who is this? And they don't realize yet that she's Mistress 9, but we're going to learn about her in the next chapter. And anyway, things end. Now, sometimes I do think that someone out there hates Chibi Moon. As much as I'm used to in the original series, because I had this horrible, wonderful pleasure, and I know some of you are going to be so mad at me for this, in Sailor Stars. In the anime, when Tuxedo Command has the eye shard stuck in his eye, of course, and he's being taken over by Neherenia, and Chibi Moon is basically dying and disappearing in Usagi's arms, or in Sailor Moon's arms. And we get this wonderful, wonderful... happy music as the eye catch music comes on into the commercial break when Chibi Moon is dying. So what happens when they realize Chibiusa is not breathing? We got the ending theme start, which of course is that really, 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 really over-the-top happy Chibiusa song. So she's dying again, and then you get this really happy song. So you get what I'm saying here? Someone don't like her very much on the animation team or in the story. I don't know. Sometimes I think that whoever's doing this stuff, it's kind of like a sick joke, and I find it kind of funny myself. Although Chibi Moon is a lot more... I can stand her a lot more in this one. She's not as annoying as she was in the original series. She's actually a really good, profound character in this. So it's still sad, but it's just, I can't help but wonder. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's this happy music, and anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, Sailor Stars, of course, is different in the manga, but yeah. Anyway, so now we're going to start off with the Labyrinth series of Crystal. And there's only a couple more episodes left. There's only one more episode left with the current opening sung by Horia Yui. And, or no, not Horia Yui. What the heck is her name? Sailor Galaxy's voice actress. And the ending with Chibi Moon. And then it's going to go to the Momoiro Clover's version. Not next episode, but the ones after that, because then there's 4 more. So there's 5 more episodes left, roughly. And then we'll have the new ending theme sung by Tuxedo Command. So that'll be interesting. Of course, they've also announced the girls taking on the new Senshi roles, Sailor Moon, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus. I did a video before this earlier this week, and they have not, I don't think, I haven't looked yet, but they, maybe I should do that. I still have a moment here. I don't think that they've revealed them in their costumes just yet, but hopefully soon, whether it's this week or next week, we might get a glimpse of them. It's probably going to be next week. Doesn't look like they've done so yet. But I'm so excited. Should be a Super S-based musical, Dead Moon Circus, so yay. Let me know what you thought of the episode, and if you caught any other interesting things there, what you think about the Chibi Moon dying thing and the animators, and do they have a sixth sense of humor? I don't know. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you again soon, and jamatane.